care about the narrow. Every hash rate, fuck a banker, so I'ma keep it running. Every hash rate, fuck a banker, so I'ma keep it going.
Solo minded Monero, I'm a cypherpunk hero. I don't care about no profit, I don't care about the narrow. Every hash rate, fuck a banker, so I'ma keep it running. Every hash rate, fuck a banker, so I'ma keep it going. Solo minded Monero, I'm a cypherpunk hero. I don't care about no profit, I don't care about the narrow. Every hash rate, fuck a banker, so I'ma keep it running. Every hash rate, fuck a banker, so I'ma keep it going. Hold up, what you doing this for? You doing it to get rich? I'm trying to make the bank my bitch. Every hash rate, fuck a bank up. I'm solo minded like fuck expenses. I'm not talking about sex when I say that I got a lot of random exes. This ain't
Woo! Okay. Hello, everyone. This is December 6th broadcast on our November earnings of 2024. Thanks for tuning in and everything. As you can tell, it's fucking freezing in Toronto. So the miners provide some good heat as a temporary solution for that. We've seen an absolute parabolic move to the upside as of late, and it looks like it's continuing. So, although it's welcomed, I do certainly have a voice in the back of my mind saying to proceed with caution. The only expansion we've done in the last 2 quarters was decide to proceed with a Constellation pre-order of the Quake sensor project, similar like a GeoNet or an Onakoi, where it's little to no or negligible power consumption on a pretty innovative project. Good pairing, on the same antenna with Crank and perhaps a Helium dual mining and a GeoNet Onakoi wing bits, and now a Quake. There are pre-orders available now. So I thought that was worth noting because it is literally the only move in terms of expansion we've done going into this end of the year. As I continue to map and measure what I'm looking at, it's price appreciation combined with the new hardware that's being released in terms of GPUs and that. I mean, on the ASIC side, I'm just happy that there really isn't any new models of older legacy coins coming out. I'm happy. Obviously, Kadena has been the outperformer this month. Will likely be Q4's outperformer if we continue to see things go the way they are. Finally, after 2 years of having RKA3s combined with a couple of mini ASICs scattered around, has certainly paid back the electricity consumed as well as the cost of the miners, which are very sold out. They're very hard to acquire at this point. I did see 1 or 2 sites, a couple on eBay and that used, and they've only lost about 50% of their value in like 2 years. So that's not that bad. I mean, it's better than a new cars depreciation or something similar. But again, that was a long road. If you factor in the PDUs and other infrastructure required to run those big ASICs, which is excluded from our calculation, it still needs some ways to go. It looks like about $2 US is going to be the magic number for many people. On the GPU side or CPU, combine, however you want to do it, Warthog, we went from earning literally, thousands and thousands a month to now earning like 100. So we're going to be switching off that. A solution has not been decided upon yet in terms of how to reallocate the hash rate or redesignate it, sorry. But we will certainly keep everyone updated on what we decide to do. But Warthog, we were fortunate enough to mine when sentiment, interest, and hash rate was at its low points for almost 2 quarters. So we are on the rich list. That I can certainly disclose. Kadena continues to take up increasing amount of our portfolio, taking away from our insane amount of shit. I forgot what I was going to say. It's freezing here. So I just kind of lost. So essentially, GeoNet dominance in our portfolio has been a problem ever since we've started collecting those dividends. So we are down, about 20% in terms of its dominance of our portfolio, which is nice to see, which means everything's catching up to GeoNet, much like much of the altcoins are coming up to the Bitcoin index, which is nice to see. I guess in terms of largest fuck ups going into the end of the year would certainly be the Grin ASICs. If we had them on Mimblewimble, I did the calculation on it, and we would have about 10 grand US from a Grin mini ASIC. Instead, we have $1,000 worth of Grin, and no one's talking about that. So I just figured I'd point that is a misnomer. So a couple blunders here and there, but overall, I think we captured many of the good projects, and I think we did okay. And I'm sure most people here did as well. Congrats to everyone who's made it. I would estimate a good 50-60% of all miners did have some financial difficulty or had to shut off completely. So we didn't make it by much, by the way. We was just getting through. So I feel everyone's pain, and so we're certainly not out of the woods yet, is what I would just stress. So it's really it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Donald Trump may have the Bitcoin president watches, but perhaps those celebrations are a bit premature. Only time duration will tell on that. But you have the Czech Republic now removing capital gains tax on Bitcoin and things like that. So. Oh, by the way, today's broadcast is sponsored by Red Bull Winter Edition Spiced Pear. It's all right. So, no, all jokes aside, yeah, the clothing line has gone okay. Volume on our 3 tokens is, quite frankly, abysmal, but that's okay. I haven't put much time or effort into that very much. Elise shut down her Instagram. Hey, Joe, what's up? Oh, shit, I just seen the chat here. No, she is not part of the company. She is gone. Yes, we did liquidate our XNet, actually. And HiveMapper earnings, yes, are actually horrible. And we are still, almost a year later, still waiting for our delivery of our upgraded device when we bought the new one when the other one broke, which... Network Bits actually so gracious to help us get a replacement, and then that replacement broke, and then we just never proceed after that, and the new one actually still hasn't arrived. So I'm actually curious. I'm actually going to look that up. It's been so long. Yeah, it looks like we all got stung a little bit with that one. But yeah, so thanks for all that. But yeah, so we're still waiting. The clothing line, hey Dan, hey Charles, Sherm, hello everybody, Fudweiser, Rude Butts, what's up? It's good to see everyone. But yeah, so the clothing line, yes, we've sold about 35% of the clothes. There's the Italian graphene line, which is on the website trillioncapital.ca. There is the black and blue Havana clothing, which again is the Egyptian cotton, most expensive cotton you can buy, hand flown to Cuba, Havana, and then hand sewn in Havana, Cuba, then smuggled back out of Cuba, put here, then put on the Nexa blockchain to authenticate it. Quite a wild adventure that was. Kind of feel like Jay Peterman from Seinfeld. But yeah, so We'll see what happens there. We have a couple of retailers that are interested in listing it here and there. So if that happens, we'll have exclusive distribution, and then the website will no longer be able to do it. So again, bulk orders or multiple orders, there's always deals. We also have a pharmaceutical venture. We are working on those in the loop. Know what that is? Let's just say it's a real stiff competition out there. So, and then we also have the burner distribution license, which has done pretty good. Yes, I did hear about the helium. Thanks, Dan, for the shirt comment there. Yeah, helium is going back to one plant. I don't understand. I mean, that's a $1.5 billion market cap, and it seems like management is the only one with a one in front of the zeros in terms of their investment in the project. So we'll see what happens with their. I mean, if you add up, aren't even halfway done paying off the initial equipment. Now, I did get the best equipment for that, but we just converted most of them to crank, and we only have 2 still running on helium, and that's quite frankly because Jay has a pastime that causes him to fall asleep after eating a bag of Sun Chips frequently. So we will get to that final switch up of the antennas, as soon as we can. We are essentially cleaning the closet out of the garbage. We're putting it out of the recycling bin. So whether it's chlor, the dust essentially is being converted into to Nexa because in terms of purchasing power for $50, $100, literally the definition of dust, it can kind of get us a lot farther than and then we're also accumulating so he can continue to convert it to Bitcoin Cash as well for larger quantities, but not really substantial, more than 50 basis points, 25 basis points in the portfolio. So again, yeah, you can purchase the clothing online. There's the package deal. And again, you can call me, text me, email me. There are deals for insiders and friends, family, and shareholders, etc. Nothing new there. The tokens, again, we have the TC to the Trillion Carbon token on Kadena, Kaspa, and Nexa. The Nexa DEX has not been released yet, so there's no active listing there, but Kaspa Piano listing, as well as the Kaspa KSPR bot for the Kaspa Trillion token, as well as we are on the Maracas, I believe it's called, Kadena DEX, which Keller, I hate to say it, made a brilliant play from acquiring KDEX out of bankruptcy, and Kadena split the bill with them to keep that DEX going. So, I believe they're still fine-tuning it, but again, you can't purchase any of this stuff OTC if the exchanges are too rare. But unfortunately, OTC trades and OTC purchases are not visible, determined on-chain transactions, so it shows all our volume still at zero. So that's something I'll be working on going into the new year. But again, we have substantial inventory from our other 4 ventures that I'm looking at right now. And again, that is what subsidizes our electricity costs, is other revenue from other sources, including equity and proof of work blockchain research products for the clients. So I encourage everyone, again, this is the time to team up. We continue to accumulate cash. We are not expanding hardware yet. We don't really know exactly what direction to go in. And I have no problem admitting that, because you have a lot going on. You have a lot of inflows of capital into the crypto markets. 46% of all of hedge funds have some type of exposure to crypto at the moment. Now, I know that's only 50%, but at the same time, it is 50%. So we will see where that goes. Um, Again, the Quake project is really the only new one worth discussing. But we have plenty of price appreciation. So again, we our XNets don't work in Canada, so that was an easy liquidation and just really easy projects that we don't necessarily like in the portfolio. I'm tired of being patient or lost optimism in them on a longer trend or tail duration. A year, 2 year from now, I don't see them hanging around. So we're liquidating that, consolidating our positions into projects we believe in or perhaps should have purchased rather than mined, which again is certainly something that I will, look at in the future. But it is tough due to our corporate structure to acquire through purchasing. So for now, that solution has evaded me. Nuco Cloud continues to do very good for no electricity consumption, and no one really talks about that. Again, Wardog is a great project, and if it is, I wish I could pull up a chart, overlapping Virus and Wardog, because Janus has basically Virus with a GPU requirement. So if it has a higher or lower beta, only time will tell, but we'll map and measure that, and hopefully Warthog kind of catches up a little bit. It certainly has had some great price action as of late. So it's something we're watching, but we're not going to be mining, as I stated before. Kaspa, again, mining that is certainly Russian roulette. Even with all the tokens, I believe it's under $20,000 US in volume a day. And most of that's obviously wash trading with the meme token creators themselves. As far as I know, we're probably the only one actually trying to do anything corporate-wise with it. CPUs remain very lucrative. Kylecoin, Etika, what have you. QRL is going to go proof of stake soon, finally, after a year of time with that. Now, what do we plan on doing with the cash pile? So, yeah, CPUs are something to watch. There's always something to do in the CPU space, which is kind of refreshing because for a while it was pretty boring. But we, for the most part, are on 50% Kylecoin and 50% Monero, just for simplicity, as well as pretty diverse, mining, the large cap Monero and the speculative bet on Kylecoin, because one is infinite supply and one is extremely limited. So I figured it was a pretty good hedge against one another. In terms of hardware acquisition prospects, I really like the Illuvium offerings, but between the pricing and the competition of these miners, as well as the taxation, I believe, I forget the exact number, but when the network hits that certain, which is not far from, especially when these new deliveries start taking place, that taxation is going to be huge on the miners. So that's something I've refrained from. I was extremely close to pulling the trigger and buying the Ice River 500 watt one, and then I find out pretty much the next day Gold Shell's got one, Dragon Ball's got one, etc. And I don't like to enter that because the chance of picking the right one is slim to none. And as everyone knows, it's pretty much all essentially me doing research. So it's very tough to delegate that and assume that you're going to be right. So I kind of going to take a step back from that. Nexa did release it's like a USB stick, and you plug it into the computer, and it's like a Bitstream, but it speeds up the transactions. And I know from sending Trillion Carbon tokens to people, even with chips right beside us, processing them, it still takes some time. So that's pretty neat. And again, I think Nexa remains extremely undervalued and underutilized because, again, 31% of all crypto users, true users, are in, Africa and poorer nations, where the currencies more resemble Nexa than the U.S. dollar. So regardless of how devalued or inflated and reduction of purchasing power that occurs in whatever currency you are in the world that you call home, these third world nations can still accumulate and purchase Nexa, however small, relative to their currencies. So again, all next is Bitcoin fully decimalized. So very intriguing. You know, you have a long time till the halving, which so far has been its curse. You have a 30, 40 grand US in daily emissions there, and that's going to be for at least another 365 days or more. So if you're mining and holding, you're playing the long game. And eventually there will be FPGA and ASICs on that network. So my thinking behind that is to mine as much as we can, although it doesn't add up currently to the costs for the machines, but to have all our 3080 Ti's, mining that and holding it to accumulate as much as we can to avoid having to purchase a $30,000, $40,000 Bitmain ASIC of Nexus. So we will see how that strategy plays out. So far, we've had a few duds, as we all do, but we've had a couple home runs as well. So overall, I cannot complain. We certainly could have done better, but again, taking notes and getting prepared for the next game of 2025, is certainly something we're excited to tinker with and tune as we go. Shit. Oh no, never mind. Okay, I thought I should. When I'm looking at things here, these proof of stake chains that were heavily scrutinized, such as even Algorand, which has nothing being done on it or anything, or Horizon, self-proclaimed made in USA blockchains. Since the war on crypto has been declared over by Donald Trump, these projects have just taken off. And Kadena is not only JP Morgan funded, but it is also extremely, very close to resembling a corporation. 70 employees, lots of funding, the taxation on the miners to fund those operations, which goes until 2029. So if you're buying Kadena, keep that in mind. 2 million Kadena that gradually goes down. I think it's about 1.5 million a month is taxed for the miners and sold to fund that 70-man team. So, Now, its liquidity in terms of exchange listings and volume is substantial. It has perpetual futures on almost every exchange worth noting. So in terms of recommending proof of work projects to buy to clients, it is almost the easiest, I would say, if not the easiest to acquire. So that has some benefit to it. It is extremely liquid. So, you have pros and cons going on everywhere, but I'm just not sure how to proceed. So again, we've done this strategy for 2 years almost now, which is mine and hold and stay put in the trench, sharpening our bayonets. Now, Octaspace for the ETC ASICs has been on there for 3 quarters straight, longer possibly, but I can confirm 3 quarters straight. And we will continue to mine that because, as Yeti had told me a few months ago, however long ago, I actually was unaware for about a quarter. We're mining it. Octaspace is going to go to proof of stake upon the ending of its emission. So we're going to mine right till the end, or until all the IPOLs dies, and then stake it all. Now, I know a node is extremely unaffordable, but we are going to see how that strategy works out as well. There's other projects, projects like Presearch or Trueflation that are charging a fee for their services. Who knew that would actually be the curse of those projects, is the success of their customer base continuing to use it, because then those projects sell the payment in their own token to support their own operations, which is perpetually keeping the price absolutely suboptimal. So that's something I did not foresee, to be honest, and that's something I will continue to avoid going forward. Wingbits, again, you have the new rollout with the partnership with GeoNet, where you can buy the single device. Now, again, I know miners hate this stuff. very tribalistic, very excluding of other methods. But again, if you had a GeoNet beside your farm, it would have paid for the juice in many cases this entire time. So Wingbits, again, €3.5 million investment from GeoNet. The token rollout will be soon. If you go to their website, if you go to their LinkedIn and look at their founding team, the things that they've managed to develop and improve on since their original AlphaNet, which again, we were pioneers, which is the first 20 miners ever online. We were the first 3 of them of that 20. So we've watched this evolution take place. And if I had to place my bet on the next GeoNet in terms of sensor returns and expansion and success, Wingbits would no doubt be that observation. And then the Quake, again, what's interesting about Quake is the staking feature. So 10% of the rewards are already allocated to stakers. So long-term people like us can stake all our rewards in perpetuity and continue to bet on the project itself. So those are interesting things to note. SwordChain is going mainnet. And again, these car ones, we sell our Demo, we sell our Nervos each month. We sell a few things now every month and just put it in Bitcoin Cash. Because frankly, like I said, we're not in expansion of projects. We are in consolidation mode. So, even things like Handshake, I'm still holding on to, which has gone up 200% this week. Certainly nothing further than May's of 2024's high, but still everything is certainly shifting. I mean, Ergo has done okay. We stopped mining that ages ago, kind of looking forward to see what happens there, but we did not accumulate nearly enough. Our Litecoin remains a good holding. And again, GPUs, Nexa is really the only thing that I am truly excited about mining and holding. And after Nexa, I mean, perhaps a Conflux issue, something like that, just to have them running, until the fans fall off. Dynex remains. We haven't sold any of that. Love the project, but again, just focusing on Nexa to hopefully save a bunch of money on that Bitmain ASIC, as I said. Now, WeatherXM took years to go mainnet. I would call it a scam, etc. But the interesting dynamic with that is actually, it's hilarious to me, is because it was such a scam for so long, or at least thought to be one, by the time they went mainnet, upwards of 70% of the entire distribution of the token was already mined by the time they went mainnet. And then the dividends get paid out slowly over time. So again, and everyone's got so much money and time invested in it that no one's really selling. So you have like a hostage situation mimicking GeoNet almost, in terms of, well, no one's going to sell. Everyone doesn't really care anymore. It's been so long. So everyone just keeps holding it. So it's actually hilarious to see it actually do so well. I mean, we're over 50, 60% returned on investment on that, which is hilarious. I never thought I'd live to see the day. Now, what was the underperforming piece of hardware? Sure, great question, and I have no problem answering. FPGAs. They have become the top performer down to the disgraceful purchase of the year. We have the VU33Ps and the VU35P, and the Bitstreams are just horrible from Osprey. A great product. The Bitstreams are disgraceful. And I think the wings should be removed from its logo because there is no movement going on there. So there's a couple of random coins being rolled out for short durations. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. So that has certainly been an accurate statement. No doubt about that. So, and I'm being told from the FPGA service from his name, Bang Bros up there in Colorado, keeps telling me that the VU33s are actually going to probably never be competitive at all. So Bang Bros has been spot on with that analysis for about 2 months now. And I am not sure if we'll ever see something regained. I hope too. I am praying and hoping that Nexa takes my advice and makes a specific bit stream optimized for the Ospreys and gives it to Osprey simply for the purchase of the product and try to keep it there as long as possible before the inevitable ASIC rollout. That would be amazing. But again, hope is not a strategy, so we can't pray. So that's like 20 Canadian. So now again, Alufio, Etika, Caspo. I mean, we accumulated so much with that at such a low rate that it still certainly offsets what we're going through now. But if there's a sustained period of this is going to absolutely kill the Osprey's offering of their product. The thing is, I know that FPGA has always been private bit streams and very obscure, very complex mechanisms. But their attempted democratization of it, I would say, has not failed, but it is certainly hitting some turbulent times. So let's hope they can come out of that for everyone's sake. And by the way, we buying a lot of Kyla coin as well with that. About 60% of our holdings were that with Retro Mike's pool, of course. Retro Mike is the god, and he's brilliant, of course. So, I think this is hockey, not golf, and I think the community saving each other's ass out there and back checking everything, has led to the forecheck and the paycheck, as they say. And I think now we're starting to get into the black, but we're not in the green. I would say. No, not liquidity. It's okay. So the VU35. So the good ones are making $40 US a month without selling anything on the current bit streams. So I would say absolute liquidity. It's not liquidity. It's just mining nothing. I don't know what's going on, and some of the bitstream selections are garbage. Yeah. So, and I've told this to a couple of people, but just to paint the picture, in Canada we have the carbon tax that was reachable there. When we first started mining, it was like 7.5 cents US kilowatt. Each year for going on like 3 years, this will be our call it fourth, somewhere around that. The electricity rate has gone up because the carbon tax compounds on each year, and it continues to feed on itself. So 7.5 cents US in the beginning. Now the average is closer to 9.5 cents US. And again, January comes and it triples again. Say round it to 10 cents US again. 7.5 to 10. That's a 25 some odd percent increase and counting. So we're racing against the clock in terms of the obsolescence of our equipment because 4090 gets twice the hash rate on Nexa than a 3080 Ti at the same wattage. So now these efficiencies are becoming unignorable. And now they're starting to cost the company yields, which again, everyone knows what we all chase, So that's a problem as we go into the 10 cent range. So essentially, in the next 2 to 3 years, we will be faced with not only replacing all the equipment, which we should do periodically anyway, quarter over quarter, but where do we run the machines? Because essentially, we're going to be forced to host everything somewhere either offshore or about in the States, whether it's Coastal Crypto or Hawk's facility in Florida, what have you. So that's something I did not ever forecast or plan for, but we are getting ahead of it now. But again, I guess to charge that money, Jay would have to answer the phone. So, Ergo's good. I mean, I wish I mined more of it. I wish I purchased more of it. I'm glad we didn't sell it. It's a pretty small holding of ours, very small. But it'll be interesting. I mean, I haven't checked up on it as much as I should. I know I still have the mobile wallet, which hasn't really updated or anything. So I assume there's something good be going on there, but yeah, exactly. The Bitstream devs, exactly. That's a proxy war that I don't think I'll ever have the full capability of understanding the inner workings of that. So, for now, we actually have the VU33 shut off. So, not because it's so ridiculous. I mean, you're talking about, the VU33s are making $5-10 a month at 600 watts. So, I mean, it's literally just pointless. It's just absolutely pointless. So instead, we just put what the electricity would cost to just buy a coin. So again, with Bitcoin Cash ending all its development and innovation for Bitcoin Cash, and then moving all to Nexa to front run that deployment of cash, continued funding and development. That's why I keep stressing Nexa as a longer term play, especially as this market continues to be saturated. It's quite insane to think about. Where do we go? What do we do? I'm but now we're approaching where if I sit and do nothing, the market will force me to change. And so I'm trying to get ahead of that. And I'm just not sure really if there is a solution, because buying 4090s or 50 series, again, and put them on what? You're going to put them on Nexa before you even pay them back without selling the juice. It'll be on ASIC. And then what? You're going to have all that investment, new rigs, new motherboards, yada, 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 all for Conflux. There's no projects to supersede the ones we are buying now or looking at now. That's my problem. The new project rollout and current development investment in new proof of work projects or anything of that nature in terms of R&D is just not happening compared to the rate of new equipment rollouts, combined with the increased electricity costs around the world. It's just not a recipe that I want to sink my teeth into currently. It's very, very tough. Even in projects we are watching, there's not a lot of success stories. I mean, Zephyr's continued to be okay at CPU. Dero, we were solo mining for a couple weeks there, attempting to anyway. And it's going to get to the point where even I have considered just putting things on unmineable and getting paid out in Avalanche or Tezos or something like that generates a staking yield of a fixed supply coin that is proof of stake that is higher than the rate of inflation. And just trying that as a new strategy, as much as I hate to say that, it's something currently being looked at. I mean, Tezos has a 9.72 yield annually and a fixed supply. So, and I know that I forget what bank the founder used to be at, but again, a financially accepted coin for sure. Yeah, Rainbow Miner, certainly something. Virus missed the boat on Huge. That was a massive fuck up. We don't have nothing more than a rounding error compared to what we should have. But we're definitely going to have to do Rainbow Miner for sure. It's getting pretty brutal out there. Once again, we're in a unique position, of course, because acquiring and making and mining virgin assets and have them in wallets that aren't moving is the advantageous structure we have in terms of taxation. Now, taxation is not where we base our strategy, but again, minimal movements, if any, is preferential, simply to avoid any regulatory scrutiny in terms of that corporate structure being jeopardized or being forced to be changed. So originating the assets always takes precedence because that is just how we've done it. But swapping into things can happen periodically if advantageous. So Rainbow Miner is definitely something that can be embraced wholeheartedly and certainly should be put on the to-do list. I'm actually going to write that down right now. Now, there's been a 30% correction in diamond prices, and why that's important is Diamond Standards and Carats as a whole has still not had the ETF list yet. And again, all the pension funds are already waiting to get in on that ETF. So Carats could also be a store value. Rainbow Miner to Carats or Diamond Standard is a very interesting proposal. And that's something I'm going to see how it goes. Beam, I don't know who's mining Beam anymore. I mean, so, you can see the lack of discovery of new projects. Library credits, Odyssey is going to, what's it called? Arweave, and the library is just going to be on its own. Again, I don't know anybody mining that besides us. I certainly don't encourage it. So as you kind of go down the quality of these projects, there's really not much worth to hold on to. And when I look at our portfolio, whether it's the yields from Storage on these servers or the pre-search nodes, or, our inability because of our ASICs breaking to mine Litecoin, it's very hard to justify any new purchases. It's very hard to justify any continued investment. And we're basically just sitting there staring at the commodities we've produced, and just trying to squeeze every last drop of oil out of the barrel in accumulation, because although the Halliburton drill rigs or drill bits and better technology is being released, they're drilling in a depleting well, if you will. The gusher has already been drained. So do we want to go down the realm of exploration again to look for more fracking? Is something I'm not convinced to do yet, because everyone knows I love expanding. I love continuing to accumulate, but even I have reached the point where I just don't see the benefit to doing so anymore. And again, we are in the black as a whole. We are at a record valuation right now in terms of our holdings. So, we have the one or two more dividend payments coming in this year, which will boost our earnings. But again, there are various strategies. Again, Chad had a excellent suggestion in terms of on CoinEx, providing liquidity with Warthog and USDT and splitting that down the middle. But again, you have the risk of the exchange doing what exchanges tend to do in a very painful fashion and disappear. So the lack of opportunity and the abundance of hardware is something that I did not forecast. Now, I've been trying to contact Solana Strategies Inc. in terms of getting a proof of work ETF or exchange traded product as a whole, some type of product offering on the Canadian Securities Exchange. That's been what I've been working on for about a month now, with some success. And if I would, to create a basket of proof of work currencies that, when purchased, percentage and with different weightings, comprising a miniature, Trillium Capital, basically portfolio hand selected per share. And in the Canadian Securities Exchange, it is the most lax. It's essentially the equivalent of the over-the-counter markets in the States. Not quite pink or gray; it would more so be orange or green level, QXB or above. So, if that was to go through, I think that would be a huge innovation in the space. I mean, you hear about XRP ETFs. I mean, the amount of times that I've got a phone call about XRP and suddenly my schedule has become much busier and I have to go is absolutely intolerable at this point. Who is buying XRP right now besides Tether issuing billions out of thin air? I don't understand. But that that liquidity must be drawn from that coin. I mean, it's the amount of retail investors that are coming in is very eerily similar to the 21 style in terms of people buying things that they perhaps shouldn't buy. Obviously, XRP tops that list in terms of froth in the market, but there's certainly other ones that are just absolutely outrageously overvalued. I don't understand why proof of work is truly overlooked to the degree that it is, but I can tell you that anybody who has a small or new exposure to crypto, and I explain the proof of work thing, aspects to them and things of that nature, it is an almost switch instantly to exclusively buying these proof of work coins. And clients certainly love that product. So, I think it's just a matter of time before the market discovers it. And when it does, I think we'll all be waiting to pass the hat for a worthy cause on that. So I'll continue to do my part. And again, due to the lack of new chains and new opportunities and new innovations, there's no shortage of blockchains. There's a shortage of people using them. So that's why the Trillion Carbon token experiment across those three chains remains something I do hold dear to my heart in terms of experimentation and research and development into use cases, into something productive to build something of value on chain. Again, whether it's the verification of the clothing, whether it is purchasing it for speculation. Obviously, that's obviously a factor if the market so determines so. But again, it's fixed supply, very low quantity, and it's directly tied to our corporation for internal and external corporate purposes. So the more clients that accept it, again, it reduces that share count, liquid supply. And again, not for money or anything, but again, just to that 3 million supply, because there's a million of each one of them, is essentially, those are my bullets in the chamber, if you will, in terms of trying to truly experiment and create something. So I appreciate everybody supporting that, however small or large a contribution. Again, and of course, assistance is always welcome in terms of value generation there. Another thing that I would like to highlight is that corporate executives are selling their shares at a record pace, as well as old wallets coming back to life and selling Bitcoin when it's at 100,000. Now, the over-leveraged accumulators of Bitcoin right now, like Michael Saylor, let's not forget what happened to him in the 2001 bubble. He lost $4 billion in a day. I would need at least a week to lose that much. But anyway, all jokes aside, I think that that is certainly a gray or black swan event that could happen. And again, let's not forget that the virus crash of March 2020 happened under Trump. Would it be a coincidence if something similar happened again, such as a cyber attack? Which, again, I'm not trying to be conspiratorial. I'm simply saying that with market sentiment the way it is, corporate earnings, share buybacks, but yet the corporate executives are selling it to the corporations that are then issuing a buyback order, is quite strange. And again, the S&P 500 continues to make all-time highs, but the Russell and everything continues to underperform. It is catching up now. But again, the best case scenario would be a peace treaty in geopolitical tensions, whether it's Ukraine, whether it is in the Middle East, and what have you, which would drastically reduce the price of oil, which would really reduce inflation, as well as reduction in government spending, which is the leading cause of inflation, and allow some price stability to come into the markets. Although inflation is obviously going right back up, and that's why crypto is, most sensitive to that factor alone. So, if we were to get that again, that would be great for the entire world. But unfortunately, you see the U.S. dollar strengthen again, and U.S. market dominance continue. I put a great chart out on Twitter. 63% of all Bitcoin mining pools are Chinese. with 30% being American. So there's plenty of work to go if the United States government is going to take charge in terms of asserting its dominance in the, to quote that book, Soft War. If they're going to assert the strategic military importance of something like that. Again, and the publicly traded companies are being given ample amounts of bond holders, plenty of capital raises going on continuously, and you still have these same plays that I've been talking about for about 2 years, although a delayed fuse. Most of the market appreciation is happening when the stock market is closed, which is Tether printing money. And each time the CME futures in Chicago are bidding crypto up, and USDC, which is actually regulated and approved and 25% owned by BlackRock and actually hold U.S. government treasuries to back the U.S. dollars, essentially monetizing the debt from holding digital dollars. Tether is having its bluff called and continues to print and print and print and print. So when does that saga end? I don't know. I have certainly learned the hard way in terms of betting directionally against it. As they say, market timers exist to make astrologers look professional. So again, I started to see the tides turn in both the equity markets and the crypto markets some time ago. And I did close those positions, thank goodness, and did go the other way, and the clients have certainly had the benefit of that. Crypto market cap as a whole, excluding Bitcoin, is doing great. It's very encouraging. But again, if this hardware continues to not have anything of substance to accumulate, what does happen with mining besides just large ASIC farms, hosted facilities, and essentially the same reduction in decentralization that Bitcoin happens to almost every coin? When these other publicly traded mining companies do inevitably mine these altcoins with great deals from Bitmain in bulk orders, can anybody compete with that? I don't think so. And if we, as in everybody here, and with similar structures of execution strategies, cannot compete with mining Bitcoin, so we went to the altcoins, then the large guys are going to also, the poor performers are going to seek alpha by mining these altcoins, such as, let's just say, the Illuvium ASIC, or purchasing K3 ASICs in a bulk order, or something of that nature, to try and compete and outperform. So that seems to be the way it's going to go. And, we were talking about the glide path of FPGAs being that middle ground between GPU and ASIC. Well, what if everything becomes just completely short duration? You'll be lucky to grab some, if you can, with your graphics cards and FPGA, and everything just becomes this very standardized and efficient market to the point where there is no alpha to be generated, which is certainly what I am observing if I was to estimate the worst case scenarios. But I am hopeful. We're certainly not at that point yet. We had a great month in terms of dollar valuation. In a month span. So we're going to close this year about 100% above. Well, actually, sorry, 200% above where we did last year. So I'm certainly pleased with that. And again, Plano Watch rebanding to Ambient. Weybit's having their main net listing. Our Diamond Standard coin is not on there either. And Onacoin's main net listing. And Crank needs to list already. It is quite absurd how they do not have any exchange listings. Well, they do, but you know what I'm saying, where you can actually purchase. So with those projects still not coming on mainnet, and now the Quake one, that's going to boost our portfolio, hopefully over the top in terms of where it should be and where it needs to be. Um, our 5950X CPUs continue to be okay. But again, there's just price appreciation is the thing to note. That is the theme of this broadcast over opportunistic yield chase. So the dynamics have changed and evolved year over year. That's afforded us this opportunity to relax, but we can't put our feet up for very long. That's why 2025 is going to be a pivotal year for many miners in terms of the directionality of hardware purchase and expansion, or just staying put, but risk facing missing the next big play. Again, I wish that we did purchase some hardware, but again, hindsight, it's nothing to get upset about. It is what it is. So I don't know if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns. No, my hair will not grow back. If that's your question, Chad. No, I have not quit smoking. So, I'm curious to see if anyone else's strategies, anything I've missed, anything that is worth noting. We do still have the Discord. We have a bunch of other products. Again, they go on the website, which looks very nice now as well. So we have a few different things going on. Again, we're looking at acquisitions in adjacent and completely isolated and differentiated theaters of operation. I will not disclose what those businesses we're looking at now because, again, those deals are not signed or ratified in any way, shape, or form. But, so overall, happy with the results? Yes. Worried about the future? Certainly. And on that note, time for a camel and time to reflect on, what we're going to improve on in 2025. And again, thanks to everybody, and I appreciate it. And just stay online, stay on mining. And again, consolidate. If you have friends you can trust, form a similar corporate structure that we have. Burden the cost together to increase the probability of success and solvency. And don't be afraid to also, involve people in this because, again, doing it individually is certainly much more difficult. Not like ours has been easy. It has its own challenges. But again, and subsidizing the electricity costs with other revenue streams. So example, you could have any number of any businesses at all, taking the revenue from those cash flows and subsidizing the mining revenue, which again gives you just that little bit more flexibility and extends your time duration substantially. And again, that's what kept us going, as well as diversification of hardware and projects. So nothing's changed there either. So thanks to everybody, and we will catch up again soon, I'm sure. Thank you.